Hello and welcome to the Drone Zone. I'm drone pilot Brian Kay.
And I'm drone pilot Joe Tillman.
All right, Joe.
BK, I feel the need for speed.
All right.
We've got an OG in the house today. We've got the original drone pilot, Corey Goodwin, a.k.a. Maverick.
That's right. Corey, you started flying in 2017. You were the first pilot at Fox 10 and one of the first pilots in the whole Fox drone program. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to be one of the first drone pilots here, and you kind of use that to get news gathering.
Well, I had a lot of RC experience as a kid, and so I was a natural for Rod to choose to go to the drone program.
Rod Haberer. He was also one of the first drone
He went with me to
pilots.
Atlanta, and we trained in Atlanta for a week, and we came back here and shot our test ride videos, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
When they came to you about flying the drone, what went through your mind?
Well, I had asked about it because I knew they were going to do it, and like I said, I love anything RC, robotics, and I just said I want to be part of it. And Rod said, "That's great."
Sure,
okay, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so since you're the first pilot, your call name is Maverick,
Right.
from Top Gun.
Right.
We all have our call names. I'm Goose, whatever. You're Iceman, because you're very Val Kilmer-like.
Yes, very.
Cool.
A live Velcome. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
And Rod's call name, do you remember what Rod's call name was?
Well, originally he was Jester.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I don't remember who he became.
Well, he didn't like that.
He didn't, for some reason, he didn't like that. And then he became
Viper.
Viper, right.
He thought that was a cooler name.
Right.
Corey, when you got your drone license almost 10 years ago now.
In 2017.
Okay, so a little under 10 years.
Yeah.
But you had to get your Part 107.
Right.
When you get your drone license, is it like one and done, or what do you have to do? Do you have to keep renewing it like a driver's license?
You have to take a recurrent course on the FAA website every 2 years. I just did that yesterday, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
this is very timely.
Yes.
What is a recurrent test then for drone pilots?
It just makes sure that you're. They add maybe new developments and the rules or what they're wanting you to be aware of.
How much has the test changed from day one?
Well, this test is much easier than the original that we took. It's just there's a lot of stuff about flying over people, what not to do.
Right.
There's stuff about flying at night, because at that time when we first came, you couldn't fly at night legally at all, and now you can. And that's the kind of stuff that you run across in the course.
Kind of keeps you up to date.
Correct.
I remember the famous METARs when we took our test. I had two of them on my 107. BK had none, of course, but I had two. So I'm like, thank goodness those are no longer part of the...
You hear people complain about those a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, the METARs.
The METARs.
Also, when you get a drone, you have to register it with the FAA. What does that take? And do you have to, is it one and done as well, or do you have to keep renewing that?
I believe those are every 3 years you have to renew. And it just involves going on the FAA website, into the Drone Zone portal, and you put your serial number in and fill out some other information, and it spits you out a tail number, like an airplane would have. You have to have it on the outside of the drone.
Yeah, what's the purpose of a registration?
Just so that, if he crashes or does something weird and someone finds it, they can find out who it belonged to.
Who the pilot was. Yeah. All right, well, we've had many drones throughout the years. You've probably flown almost all of them that we've had. So let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we?
Okay.
All right, let's see the first one here. So the first one, tell us what this is, Corey.
That's the Phantom 2. That was the very first drone we got.
It's
pretty primitive.
Kind of primitive. So
I love the camera system they have for it.
So this is basically what, just a GoPro?
A GoPro.
So you just send it up and hope it gets the shot.
Point it where you think you need it.
Was it easy to control?
It was okay, but it had a lot of, if you've got very near a Wi-Fi router or strong Wi-Fi signal, it could potentially just fly off on you.
I wasn't a big fan of this drone myself, but I have my reasons.
I don't think I got a chance to fly this after you flew it.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's probably a reason for that.
All right, let's take a look at the second drone we went through, right?
When we got back from the school, we started flying these Inspire 2s, which are
huge.
Monstrous.
Look at this, huge. Joe, do you mind taking this?
It's like a little mini tank.
Yeah, look at that.
It's like flying a lawnmower.
Wow. Look at those blades. Those are huge blades.
It's a great drone. It has a lot of capability, but it's very intimidating to fly compared to the Mavics we're flying these days.
And the sound alone from this.
I heard it described as a flying lawnmower.
Yeah.
Very loud.
And it's huge, so that scares people too.
Well, and this is the drone that we kind of all cut our teeth on. I know, Joe, you and I had to fly it together because it's a two-person.
One person flies
thing.
it, the other controls the camera.
Yeah, and here's the camera. It's a whole separate part.
That you got to put on.
Hold on, put that down a little bit. Here's the camera. You have to put it on to the drone. So yeah, you have to kind of build it together to fly it.
Right.
And now, what are you flying now, Corey?
Well, we're flying Mavic 3 Pros now, which is just an incredible drone.
And look at the size difference. Look at the size difference. Unbelievable.
And that drone has 3 cameras built into that camera housing. It's got a wide angle, a middle of the road,
Look at that.
and a
thing.
telephoto.
That is amazing. You get some really great shots with this. You fly with for the investigative reporter.
Yes.
You fly some stuff, and you also do some Cool House stuff, other special projects
Like Cool House.
as
yeah.
well. Cool House is, you're flying a house, but you recently flew inside of a house, right?
Right. We had a house that had a very high ceiling, and we were able to fly in there because it was wide open, and fly up under the rafters and take a look down. We actually looked down on the kitchen island at one point. It was a pretty unique perspective.
What's the main difference of flying a drone inside versus outside? What are your more hazards, or does the drone do anything different when it's inside a house?
It doesn't really do anything different. You just want to make sure that your return to home altitude,
Oh, wow.
in case it disconnects from the controller, is set to like low enough that it won't fly into the ceiling.
Now, what about GPS? Do you have GPS in the home when you fly, or
Well, that's
no?
another major difference between the older drones and the newer ones. The older ones occasionally would lose GPS inside, and now it almost never loses GPS.
You're like right at the roof or at the ceiling at that house.
Right up in the rafters.
Is that a little nerve-wracking, or is
A little, but I was standing right below it, the VO and I, and we could just see right up in there, see where we were. Just have to move very slowly and carefully.
And, I know the drone kicks up a lot of wind when it's flying around. I mean, could you feel it? Was it loud in there?
Normally, if it's
Echo?
down low, sometimes it can get a little ground effect. But there's the look down.
Oh, wow, that is cool.
It's high enough above everything that it's not really too much of the ground effect.
What's the median price of this house? 100,000, 150,000?
That's the other thing was I think this was a $20 million home.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so you don't want to be running into anything.
Okay, well, there's a chandelier.
There's a chandelier.
There's got to be a whole bunch of different hazards in a house.
Oh, for sure. You just don't want to have it fly off or get too close to something and just pop something.
Is that an elevator?
It is. That is an elevator.
Sure. Well, we all have elevators in our
There's
houses.
a game room basement underneath of that one with a
okay. shooting
shooting range and a bowling alley, all kinds of stuff.
Well, I think we should have a drone zone party there.
There you go. Why did you choose to drone inside the house?
Well, just because it was right there and it was very, the roof was high enough that I felt like we could see something cool with it.
Well, we're obviously seeing something very cool. This is a totally different perspective of the house. You also drone inside a warehouse. Talk
A foreign
about that a little bit.
trade zone warehouse,
Okay.
which is a place where companies can import and park their goods and not pay the tariffs until they sell them. It helps them save money. And this was just a great wide open spot to fly in. And not always high up, as you can see, which is about a foot above the ground here. And
How tall was the ceiling on this one?
I would say it's probably about 40, 50 feet.
Okay.
You can see here, we'll kind of go up.
And there's some safety features on the drone too, as far as like a brake and bypass. Did you have to take those off when you flew in here, or how did you fly?
I normally fly with the brake because the
Okay.
bypass makes it feel laggy and weird.
Okay.
So I like to fly with the brake instead of and that's basically if it starts to hit something, it'll just stop.
It'll send something and just.
Whereas bypass, it'll try to fly around it on its own.
All right.
Now, I know sometimes when you fly indoors, especially like big warehouses like that, air conditioning can be an issue, because I remember one where they have air just blows from the top down, and so you had to sort of maneuver the drone around the AC in the warehouse.
This warehouse had a couple of large diameter fans that were probably 30 feet almost, maybe not that far, 20 feet in diameter. And we had them shut those down temporarily for us.
What is some advice you would give a starting drone pilot if they're thinking about flying indoors? Something like this, or a house, or something totally different?
Just be careful.
Yeah.
And do everything slow. Put it in the cinema mode or the slow mode, and
Explain
no
the
sudden
cinema
moves.
mode. What are the different modes the drone has?
The cinema mode and normal, and then sport, and that just affects how quickly it moves and how sensitive the controls are. The cinema mode is the slowest. It's designed to make it as smooth as possible.
And that's what you're using indoors here?
That's pretty much what I always use. Yeah.
Nice.
What advice would you have for like brand new drone pilots?
Just be careful. And these days with the geofencing gone from DJI products, you want to be sure that you know exactly where you're launching, because in the old days it would stop you from launching somewhere you shouldn't be. Now it won't do that. So you need to be sure you know where you are.
Corey, what would you say your favorite place in Arizona is to drone?
I love the cool house flights. They're the most challenging, probably the most creative flights that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I like doing the investigative stuff at night because it's just spectacular, especially at sunset, because we get just crazy sunsets here.
So when you're droning for investigative pieces, what are the areas? What are you droning? Like crime scenes or different locations?
We'll typically go to a place where a crime has happened, which is the story we're working on, and we'll just get locator video of the area. You see that kind of stuff in Netflix documentaries a lot, just
Right, yeah.
locator stuff of the street or general city, spooky at night city stuff. That's what I do for him mostly.
Very cool.
And those are also very fun flights because it's just a challenge to fly at night.
Really quick, some of the challenges for flying at night.
Well, you gotta scope out the area in the daylight so you know what you're looking at, and sometimes they're not in the best areas, so you got to really be careful about where you are launching and recovering from.
And it's probably good to have someone there like a VO to kind of watch the drone and your back, right?
Well, we have to have a VO to fly at night for Fox. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Plus, we have to all be night certified.
True.
And also, an interesting note, there's only 7 night qualified pilots in the entire
Really?
Wow.
Fox television
Are you
stations
serious?
group, and 3 of those pilots are sitting at this
Yeah,
table.
raise your hand if you're
I
one.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
awesome.
That's good.
3 out of 7 ain't bad.
No, it sounds like a song. Thanks to the OG drone pilot, Corey Goodwin, Maverick. BK, take us home.
All right. Thank you, Corey, for being on the show. I'm drone pilot Brian Kay.
I'm drone pilot Joe Tillman.
I'm drone pilot Corey Goodwin.
Remember, keep your drone soaring and your adventures exploring.